Recording my voice. Hello and welcome to Photoshop Fun with Miss Matsumoto. It is the new hot video cast, almost as good as painting with Bob Ross. So I've started the recording, guys. Okay, so shh, don't make the video me just shushing you a bunch of times. Okay, so I've opened up in Photoshop the two final images that I'm planning on using for my diptych. So you've already edited your two final pictures, the ones that are going to go next to each other. And it's totally fine if yours are portrait orientation. I've picked two pictures here you can see that are landscape orientation. They're horizontal. So this first image here is over the break. My partner and I, she's the photographer. This is her watermark, KV, Kimberly Varney. And we took some sparklers outside and did some long exposure stuff. So we looked kind of crazy just running around. This is the field behind my dad's house. He lives in a more rural area, but the neighbors probably thought we were kind of nuts because we're just like running around at 11 p.m., you know, playing with sparklers and taking pictures. So these were like 30-second exposures. And then this other picture I'm going to be putting together is a picture we were doing a family photo shoot in LA for some of our friends, and they wanted it for their Christmas card, so we actually had to go to a Christmas tree farm because in LA there aren't really, you know, just like forests downtown. So we tried to make it look like the illusion like this family was in the forest, and I was just posing for a light test for her. So these are just the two sample pictures I'm going to use. All right, so you have your two pictures that you're going to put together, and we're going to start by making a new document that we're going to then put these pictures on. So we're going to go up to File, New. Okay. And I'm going to call this, I mean, maybe, since this is a test, you could call this maybe like Practice Diptych or something like that. You're not going to need to turn this in, but when it's your actual final exam, you might want to call it, you know, Through Two Lenses Final, or just a title where you know what the file is. Okay. And so right now I'm going to be showing you how to place them side by side, but if it ends up working better for your diptych to place them one on top of each other, you can always change the size of the canvas. So, but just for starting, I'm going to make my canvas 17 inches wide, and I'm going to make the canvas, I'll start with 10 inches tall at 300 resolution. So I'm making, and make sure it's inches, not pixels. So right here, make sure it's in inches, not in centimeters. You know, we're one of the few countries that uses, what is it, royal measurement, imperial measurement, even though the rest of the world uses metric. Okay, so 17 by 10 at 300 resolution, the background should be white. And I say okay, and ooh, ah, we have a big white rectangle. I know, fantastic. All right, so figure out first which picture you want to put on the left and which picture you want to put on the right. So I'm going to put the one of me hiding in the bushes. I'm going to move that over. So I'm going to select it all. I'm going to, oh, sorry, back up a minute. So right now I have only the background layer. If you open a picture that has multiple layers, make sure you flatten it first. Otherwise, it's not going to take all the layers. So if you have multiple layers in your layers palette, go up to Layer and then flatten the image. So that's only if you have multiple layers. Okay, so make sure you flatten your picture first so that it's only the background photo, because when we move it, it's only going to take the background. All right, I'm going to select all. So on a Mac, you're going to say Command A. On the PCs, you're going to say Control A. So Command or Control A to select all. And then I get these little marching ants around the border. What's copy again? There you go, Control C or Command C, depending if you're on PC Mac. So I've copied it. I'm going to go over to my new document. How do I paste? There we go, Control V or Command V. Oh, it's not, but it, okay. And then I'm going to move it over here. Okay, and I know it's too small. I'll adjust in a minute, but I'm just kind of roughly placing it for now. And I'm going to go do the same thing with my second image. Okay, I'm going to select all, Command or Control and the letter A as in apple, copy, Command or Control C, and then paste it, Control V. Okay, all right. So basically I've just moved the two pictures onto the new document. Okay, so maybe your pictures are too big, maybe your pictures are too small. Who remembers the shortcut for how to transform something? Control and the letter T, awesome. So first first I want to, though, before I resize them, I like everything really lined up and straight and neat. So make sure you have these rulers. So at the top and the sides, I have rulers. If your rulers aren't turned on, go to View and make sure Rulers is checked off. Check your rulers, rulers. Make sure it's checked off. As you can tell, I've had a lot of coffee this morning, okay? And then you can drag guidelines. So you click on the top ruler, hold it down, and drag. Like I want maybe just like a nice 1/2-inch border. And it's gonna make this little blue line. I'm gonna turn the other light off so you can see a little bit better, guys. Okay. So I've made this guideline. The audio is probably gonna change in the video. Okay, so you check off the rulers and it lets you put these guidelines on because I want like a nice little 1/2-inch border all the way around the document. Okay. Okay, so first I went to View, I checked off rulers. Okay, and then I clicked on the ruler. I clicked like kind of where the numbers are. I clicked and I held down till I got this guideline. So the guidelines won't show up in your final product. They're just that. They're just guidelines to kind of give me an idea. Okay, because what I want to do now is I'm clicking on one of my photos. I'm moving it up there. Okay, and then I'm going to transform. I'm going to say Control-T, and then make sure you hold down Shift. This is really important. Hold down Shift first. Click Shift. And then drag the corner because I do not want my photo to get distorted. Okay, I do not want to go like this. I do not want to go like that because it's kind of stretching it out. So make sure when you say click Shift and make it smaller or bigger with the corner. So it should change simultaneously. So you should be holding down Shift. Okay, and I want it to go maybe halfway. Okay. And then how do we finalize a transformation? Enter. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to resize my other one. I'm clicking on the other layer. I'm moving it. Okay, getting it lined up. I'm going to say Control-T. I click the Shift button, and I drag the corner. And it's up to you if you want the photos to go, right next to each other, or if you want it to, have a little gap. So it's totally up to you. But for me, I'm more picky. I just want to make sure that they're like lined up. So I like to put a guideline on the top and I put a guideline on the bottom. And then maybe I could make them a little bit bigger. Okay, so so you can tweak this a few times. So I'm pressing Control-T again because I want the space to be a little bit smaller in between. I've enlarged that one. Move my guideline, go to this, change the layer, Control-T, hold down Shift, drag the corner. There we go. Press Enter. Okay? So it's up to you if you want, like a nice white border. If you want like a skinnier border, that's totally up to you, because you're presenting this as your final piece. So maybe it would look better if they're right next to each other or not. Okay? So now that's kind of the, then I would crop it. You guys all know how to use the crop because I don't want all this extra white space. I just like to start with a larger canvas because it's a lot easier to go smaller. So then I'm just going to make my canvas, I'm just kind of cropping it in so that my final, so it's up to you how much kind of white space you want on it. So I just cropped it so that mine looks like that. I like the look of a fatter bottom border because another option too is you could add your name on this. You could add a title. It's up to you. So like I could put the text tool. How did I crop it? I just cropped the whole canvas. Here, I'll redo that one more time. So edit, step backwards. Okay, so I just selected the crop tool. Okay, and then I just cropped the whole entire image to get rid of some of that extra white space at the bottom. Okay, and I'm leaving a little bit of extra space on the bottom because I want to add my name. So again, it's optional if you want to add your name. So I'm just going to add my name. I want it like kind of classy looking, so no Comic Sans, but that's up to you. So I'm going to put Miss Matsumoto, and I want the text to be, you can change your text color. All right. You can change your font. You guys should know how to do that. Maybe I want it to kind of look like a handwriting, so maybe I want like a little bit of a cursive. Or actually, no, I'm going to go with a sans serif. I like something a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to put too many fonts to choose from. All right, there we go. I'll just keep it simple with a simple sans serif. It's a little too big. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. 36 points. I'll do 24 points. And I want it right aligned. There we go. Okay, and maybe I'll just move that up a little bit. A little bit over. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to put your name or the title. And if you want a black background, you know, I would kind of keep it to white or black. If you really wanted another color, you can, but that might be kind of tacky. But say you want a black background instead of a white background, you can just go to the paint bucket tool and just make sure you're on your background layer. And then just you could fill the whole background black. Like say it looks better with a black background. And then I would change, you know, maybe I'd change my name to a different color. Maybe I'll change my name to a white text instead of a black so that it actually shows up. Okay. Maybe if you're more advanced too, I'm going to turn off my guides now. So I'm just, to turn off the blue lines, it's just uncheck extras. I went to view and extras and that just hides those blue lines for a minute. Like maybe I kind of want to, these are all optional things. We're just kind of finessing it. Maybe I want to add like a little white border around each of my photos. So you click on the layer, right click on it, say blending options, click on the word stroke, and then I picked a white border. I could pick a white border. Oh, here, that's why. I should be in this color palette. Okay, maybe I want a little white border and I'm just going to make it 3 pixels. Like I just want like a thin, kind of thin border to make it pop out from the background. So stroke is outline. So I kind of outlined the photo on the right by adding a stroke, and I'll do the same thing to the photo on the left. I'm right clicking on the layer I want to outline. I click blending options. I click on the word that says stroke. And then I make sure it matches a white border. It's a 7 pixel border. Okay, so, and this is then I would make sure I save it, of course. So I'd save it as a Photoshop document, so I could always get back to the layers if I ever want to tweak this again. I think this isn't, that's not pure white. I want pure white. Yeah, there it is. It looked blue to me. Okay, so I'll save it, File, Save As. And I know I'm on a Mac, so it looks a little bit different than your PCs. So I'm going to say Practice Diptych. Make sure I save it somewhere where I know it's going to be. You know, maybe I'll save it on my, you know, in my drive. So save it as a Photoshop. Then I'm going to go to Layer, Flatten Image, and then I'm going to save it as a JPEG, because the JPEG is what you're going to turn in as your final to our Flickr groups. So I'm going to say JPEG and save that. And then you got to turn that into our class Flickr group. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the video too, but I know you guys already know how to do it, but I'll put it in there as the demo. Okay, I go to You, or first I'll upload this. Choose Photos and Videos. Make sure I pick that JPEG. Practice Diptych JPEG. Upload that, add to group, add to NMHS photo. Make sure you pick your right groups. Okay. And then it's done, and I'm uploading it, and then I've turned in my final exam, or my final project. So that, because what we're going to do on the finals day is we'll do a critique. So all I'm going to do is just go to the Flickr group and I'm going to look for your final project. Okay. So again, the name is optional, changing the background's optional, the borders are optional. Yeah. So, but basically, you're just going to put 2 pictures on 1 document, turn it into the group. And then during the critique, we'll look at your picture. All right, so I'm going to stop this recording.